ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Tuesday, September 3rd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Hope you had a great Labor Day. We'll get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. We're going to put this game to bed, the one that happened over the weekend, Marshall and Stony Brook. Thundering Herd moving on now. It is Virginia Tech week. So the Herd getting set for the Hokies. Preparations already well underway. We're going to hear from Coach Huff in just a few minutes, get some of his thoughts on the game on Saturday, and, of course, look ahead a little bit to Virginia Tech. So we'll do that together with you. And, again, that text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I haven't had a chance to talk to many of you since the game on Saturday. Of course, we had our post-game on Saturday, and we didn't get a chance to really talk about the game. Everybody wanted to talk about everything else, the weather delay and everything else that was going on surrounding the game. I think the game itself, you know, when the Herd came back well rested, and the Herd also had a little bit more energy and pop, I think that they really just overwhelmed Stony Brook. That was the way I hoped and expected that game to go. That's what I want to see, and that's no disrespect to Stony Brook. It is, however, what I want to see Marshall when it comes to the Thundering Herd taking on one of the teams coming out of the FCS. Now, how good is Stony Brook? We still don't know, because with the transfer portal, they got a lot of new players that came in. Marshall had a new player list as well, so everyone's got new players. We really don't know in the grand scheme of things how good Stony Brook's going to be compared to what Albany was last year. If you go on last year's results, Stony Brook just wasn't that good, didn't win a single game. So I was not expecting, based on previous results, and of course, you're starting from scratch, especially at Stony Brook, you're starting from scratch. I wasn't expecting Stony Brook to really put up that much offense. And once Marshall figured them out, I think the iPads helped. You're going to hear Coach Huff talk a little bit about that today. I think having the opportunity to instantly go back and say, oh, hey, you're right, we can see what they're doing now. They're not coming out in coverage that we were expecting. Okay, we see what they're doing. We can adjust to that. Okay, let's go. I think that's really going to be a great tool, and it's going to make the games more competitive, and that's what we're wanting, right? We want more competitive games. Well, okay, we want blowouts, but we do want better, more competitive contests, I would think. So it was a busy weekend. Obviously, a lot of college football. If you're someone like myself who has DirecTV, you missed out on a lot of it because of the carriage dispute between Disney and DirecTV. If you're impacted, if you're one of the people like me, you just all of a sudden you don't have ESPN, how are you hanging in there? How's it going? Are you okay? I do know that DirecTV is going to be offering some compensation. Hopefully this thing gets resolved sooner than later. If you're a Marshall fan, just a Marshall fan alone, and you depend on ESPN for some of the games, if you have ESPN Plus, you're going to be fine. Most of the games are going to be on ESPN Plus, so you don't have to worry about anything right now. The game coming up is going to be on the CW. The game after that is going to be probably Big Ten Network. I believe it's Big Ten Network. I haven't looked that far ahead, but it's Ohio State game. So you got a few weeks, and then the game coming up after that will be home. So if you're a Herd fan, you're going to the game, you'll be fine. If you're far away, most of the games, again, should be ESPN Plus. I think you're going to be okay. But it was difficult because there are a few games I wanted to watch. I actually wanted to watch a few games across the board. I don't have that opportunity now. And so what are we doing as far as finding the temporary solution? What's out there? I haven't had to do this in a while. I've heard YouTube TV. I've heard football, or I've heard that's good. Dish, I don't know if I'm doing Dish. I think I'm staying with DirecTV. But what are we doing as far as that stopgap? That, do I sign up for like the 7-day trial of something and then go over to another 7-day trial? What am I doing? What are we doing? We'll figure that out together. Text is 304-396-TALK, 396-8255. I'm kind of curious, though. Would this make you drop DirecTV, knowing that Disney has pulled this before and possibly will pull this again with a different provider? Would you switch providers based on this, knowing that it could happen to the provider that you switch to? Like, I'm a big NFL fan, and I don't want to switch over to YouTube TV for the NFL Sunday ticket package. I just don't. I mean, the prices are ridiculous, and I just don't want to do that. I don't like the hassle. It's not convenient for me. YouTube TV is great, but just not for me. The way that it's set up now for me with DirecTV, it works perfectly. It's fine. It's what I need and want for myself, and of course for those my family that are using it. So what is the option right here? And I guess for me, I'm going to have to just maybe be a disgruntled fan for a little bit and hope that there's something that is really not too big that I can live without. Like right now, U.S. Open, okay, I could do without that. I'm fine. Did I want to watch some of the college football programs? Yeah, I don't want to watch college football, go back and catch some of those. Yeah, I want to catch some of those, but I can't do that right now. So unfortunately, I'm sure there are a lot of you like myself that are kind of in the wrong place right now looking, because it was weird. I got up really early this morning. I had to get a couple things done before I even got in here today and went over to Marshall. So I had to get up even earlier, and I wanted to throw something on from ESPN just as like background, and I couldn't do that. I ended up watching Good Morning Football, which is great if you love nonstop NFL. After a while, I could have done without it after a while. On Sundays, yeah, I want to see nonstop NFL. Tuesday morning, I don't know. We haven't even played a game just yet. Our text line's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's go ahead and get to a couple of those before we hit the break. And we got Coach Huff coming up in just a few minutes, so we'll hear a little bit from him. From our text line, texter says, Paul, after a weekend of watching football, I reached the following observations. If you make a first down, be sure to point down the field. If you break up a pass, throw your hands in the air. When you go on or off the field, skip like a little girl. All right, I don't know. I don't know if that's just exclusive to the girls, but okay, I get what you're saying. The text continues. Not a whole lot of original thought out there. Why have different uniforms or team names when everyone is the same? I mean, give me a suggestion. When you make a first down, what do you do? Give me a Marshall suggestion. I want the Marshall thing to do when you get a first down. And if you break up a pass, give me what Marshall should do. Think of it like a video game. We're gonna purchase some new emotes for Thundering Herd. How they emote after a celebration dance or something like that. I mean, I get it. They're excited. They're showing a lot of energy. They're showing their passion and joy for the game. I completely get it. I don't want to get to the point where it's the NFL, the no fun league here, and just tell these guys, just play the game. At the same time, I do like the fact that there are players that, they act like they've been there before. I'm a big proponent of that. Look, you scored. You've been there before. Ain't no thing. Isn't a big deal. I've been here before. I'll be back. But I don't want to be the guy that says, you know what? You can't go have fun and have energy. But, yeah, everybody does the same thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's time just to mix it up. Of course, they're going to mix those uniforms up a lot. That's going to get mixed up. We're going to have all kinds of shades. We're going to have all kinds of flavors, all kinds of colors. You got a lot to work with there. You got the black, you got the white, you got the green, you got, do we add something else? I mean, do we do gray next? What are we talking about here with these uniforms? I'm not advocating gray. Unless I need a mock-up first. What would that look like, though, if you replace the black and put the gray in there? Kelly green, white, and gray. What would that look like? Somebody's going to mock that up for me. Let's hear from Coach Huff when we continue. And I want to hear from you as well. We've got a few things to get into today, so we'll do that. 304-396-TALK, 303-96825. That's our text line. Looking forward to hearing from you as we're getting closer to Marshall and Virginia Tech. Going to be on the CW this week. Tom Brenneman's going to have the call of that one. How do you feel about Tom Brenneman back in the booth calling a Marshall game of all things? We'll get into that as well when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Lex, I got a question for you about our friends over at K&B Pest Control.
Shoot.
Do you think they'll eliminate my mother-in-law?
I think so.
She's in the house, kind of pesky.
From what I understand, they'll kill for your business, so you might want to have a talk.
No, these guys are great, man. Locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state area. Free estimates, highly skilled staff. There's specialized training and inspections and solutions. So no matter what's going on, they'll figure it out. They'll find out where these pests are coming from, and they will eliminate them.
Yep, and you can even do comparisons with their Facebook page. They got real pest pics. This is when the critters start coming out, Terrence, so if you're seeing problems like they have on their Facebook page, call 304-523-4281.
Go ahead and ask for Patrick or Becca. They will hook you up. We promise you it's KNBPestControl.com. Go ahead and hit them up online as well. K&B Pest Control, they will kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Ooh, I smell barbecue. Get ready for the tastiest event of the year. Quantum Party Rentals proudly presents the return of the annual Rib Fest Barbecue and Food Festival. It's Finger Licking time. Join us September 5th through the 8th at Harris Riverfront Park in Huntington for 4 days of mouth-watering barbecue, delicious food, and non-stop fun. Experience world-class barbecue vendors serving up award-winning ribs, chicken, and sauces. Plus, enjoy a variety of other foods and desserts. Bring the family for thrilling carnival rides. Don't miss out on our nightly entertainment. Country Night with Chase, Mitchell, and Little Texas. Friday, Rock and Roll Night with Hair Supply and the Kiss Tribute Band. Saturday, Oldie Goldie Night featuring the Esquires, the Coasters, and Paulie and the Greaseballs. And of course, there's cold beer and fun for all ages. Mark your calendar for September 5th through the 8th, Harris Riverfront Park. Get more info, visit WVRibFest.com. Sponsored by Kinder Communications, WSAZ Channel 3, Gomar, Pepsi, Miller Lite, HD Media, Budweiser, Poca Valley Bank, Mountain State Beverage, Optimum, Sandy's Racing and Gaming, Quantum Party Rentals, and K&B Pest Control. Don't miss the return of the annual Rib Fest.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to hear from Coach Huff in just a few minutes. I've got some selected highlights from his presser. We're not going to hear the entire thing. It was about 30 minutes earlier today between Coach Huff and the media, members of the media. myself included. So we'll hear some select highlights from that throughout the week. We've got player interviews throughout the week as well. So we'll have all of that coming up here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, as I mentioned, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter writes in, give me some TV advice, says that YouTube TV is the way to go, Paul. $75 a month, no equipment to rent, unlimited DVR, all the sports channels except the Red Zone channel are on the basic tier. I might try it. I'm going to wait this thing out just a little bit. Once hockey season gets here, I've got ESPN Plus, but since the only thing that I really need from Plus is a couple of select Marshall games, I might put that on hold just until I get everything back. And I might get the Center Ice package on DirecTV. Now, that's not going to be the ultimate thing for me because there are going to be some games that are exclusive to ESPN, so I've got to figure this out. But I might give that a go just as a stopgap measure, just to have something because I do like DirecTV. Back to our text line. Texter says, Paul, I watched Coach Huff's press conference. I wish we would have heard more on the quarterback situation. Did Stone do enough to start again, or did Braxton, who is named an offensive player of the game, take the job? Quarterback was brought up with nothing direct. I did ask one of those questions about the quarterback, kind of see what his process was, because I don't think he's going to name a starter. And if I just directly ask him, and I'm just, this is just me, I can't speak for any other member of the press corps that was there today, but anyone that's going to say, hey, who's your starter? At this point, at this process, I don't think you're going to get a definitive answer. But part of his response to my question about the process to name a starter, which he didn't, by the way, he's going to keep it the same, but I think he did acknowledge the fact that eventually they're going to have to settle. Maybe settle is not the right word. They're going to have to make a decision, okay, who's the guy that's going to be the guy? Of the three, he's got lots of options. Who's going to be the guy? But the process this week is going to be similar to what it was last week. They've got a little bit more to work with now, and he did talk about a little bit about getting off to a faster start as well. And I think that complements the part about the quarterback. So this is a long cut. I'm just going to give you a heads up on this one. I think this complements my next question. So we want to hear this first. So this is Coach talking about getting off to a faster start, and there is some talk about the quarterback.
Well, I think it's totally different moving forward because we're going to be looking at who we're playing. You're going to know what they're going to do pretty much because you're going to have a game, 2 games, 3 games, 4 games. You're going to know what the Mike linebacker looks like because you're going to have seen him on film all week. I think when you go into those games where the coordinator changed, the personnel changed, and you have nothing, you're really out there kind of paddling for the first 2 or 3 series. And a couple of people asked me, man, what quarterback are you going to start? And I said, to be honest, guys, I don't know because their numbers are almost identical. When you look at, completions by Stone, completions by Braylon, completions by Cole, they're almost identical. When you sit in the stadium and you go the first 3 series and you punt, it's like, oh, well, boo, that quarterback. Well, Stone got the short end of the stick because he had to run out there first without the, okay, this is what they're going to do. So when he came back to the sideline, it was like, no, they weren't playing that coverage. Be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, let's get on the iPad and figure it out. Boom, you're up again. Okay, well, no, they're not playing that coverage. Okay, hey, now we got it. Rain delay. So now Braylon goes in. We're sitting in there. He's watching the iPad. He's like, oh, yeah. No, they're not playing any of the coverages we talked about all week. This is what they're doing. Oh, I'm good. So now he gets in. He's good. Well, Cole does the same thing. Cole gets to sit there. He gets to look at, oh, this is what they're doing. So, again, when you get further into the season, now you have actual film of the current guy. You know how fast that linebacker is. You know what structured defense they're going to play. Are there always going to be changes? Yes, that's game planning. But you're not going to get, hey, this is what this coordinator's been for the last 3 games, and all of a sudden they're totally different. Like, we're not coming out this game, maybe next week or the week after, in wing T. triple option Navy offense. Well, people know that now. We may have different formations, but again, I think as the season goes on and you're able to get more current film, you're able to kind of eliminate some of those laws.
I'd come out in a wing tee just to mess with people. I would have a wing tee play just drawn up. I would come out one time just to mess with people. Throw it in early. Just wing tee. Come up with something else goofy and do it well. I would just do it one time just to mess with somebody. Maybe at the game in a couple weeks against Ohio State, I'd just come out wing tee one time, mess with them. But he's got to point to why it felt like there was a slow start, and then you get the rain delay, the thunder and lightning delay, whatever you want to call that, and they get a chance to go in, regroup. Okay, now we know what's going on. We can come back out. And it was almost like it was the start of almost a new game. And now the process to selecting a quarterback. And I'm going to throw it out to you right now. Who do you want to see quarterback the Herd starting the game against Virginia Tech? Do you want to see Stone Earl? Do you want to see Braylon Braxton? Do you want to see Cole Pennington? Who do you want to see be the quarterback for the Thundering Herd? And I guarantee you we'll get all three. We'll get all three. People will select one of those three differently than someone else will. I'll get all three answers. But what's the process going to be this week to determining who your starter is going to be?
Yeah, I think so. We really haven't talked about that because we've been kind of just trying to figure out what do we want to do against Virginia Tech. I do think there's going to be a point in time where we've got to make a decision and give a guy a chance and a backing, right? You can't be, hey, you're the starting pitcher, and as soon as you throw a ball, here I come, with the old hook. But I do think right now we've got three capable quarterbacks, and we've got to be able to it's no different if you got three capable running backs. You got to find a way to get those guys in the game. Now, who runs out there first? No one knows, but we got to figure out who can do what. And if you got capable depth, you got to find a way to play it. Now, I'm not an idiot. I get it. At some point, you can't just rotate quarterbacks like you do wide receivers. But right now, and I feel good about the room. I feel as good about the room coming out of camp as I do coming out of the first game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like we just played the 85 Bears. Obviously, we got to still continue to evaluate as competition changes, as the level of expectancy changes, of the level of complexity.
And that complexity leads into the next comment. Marshall did not run the full air raid package, as so many of you commented on Saturday, either through talking to me on our call-in show, texting in, social media. It got dubbed the air run. A lot of people were like, this is it. This is the air raid. And I wasn't expecting the full play package. We got 6. That's what Coach Huff said. It got to a point where we need 6 plays. And we're going to run these plays. This is what they're going to give us. This is what we're going to give them in response. 6 plays. That's all we saw.
We probably ran 6 plays Saturday because we felt like, okay, hey, if they're only playing these 2 coverages, well, these are the 6 plays we need to win. So, obviously this week we're not going to be able to do that. We got to continue to build. But we weren't trying to, run every play in the air raid playbook. We were trying to let kids go out and play under the lights. That was the goal for me. 40 new players, new team, new season, all of these things. Let these guys go out and play under the lights so I can see who can just cut it loose. Once you show me you can cut it loose, I can move you around. I can call it, hey, call this blitz, call this pass route. Hey, run this reverse. Hey, run this, whatever. But I got to be able to see you go out there without anxiety, under the lights, in front of this great crowd and this great atmosphere and play full speed. I've seen you do it in practice. I've seen you do it, in walkthroughs. But now I got to see you do it in the game. So what I didn't want to do is paralyze our guys with, hey, we're trying to run so many plays that now they're thinking and the lights are – I didn't want to do that. Moving forward, we're going to have to be a little more creative. We're going to have to help them, put them in advantageous spots. Obviously, this week is going to be a huge piece of that. But Last week was trying to just go out and play fast, guys. Go out and play fast. Now we know who we have, and we can adjust.
So who do we have as starting quarterback? We probably won't know until Friday night, Saturday. I think eventually we're going to have to settle on one of them. I thought Braylon Braxton played the best of the three. Is it fair to say Stone didn't get the opportunity that Braylon got? Yeah, I think that's fair as well, because Stone had to go out there cold. Braylon comes in. All right, I've seen what they can do. I've seen them. I know what they're doing. I got this, coach. Let's go. But you had a situation where all three quarterbacks played well. I mean, that's from our text line just now. Texter even said that. Paul, I do think that all three quarterbacks played well. I think that it will either be Stoner or Braylon to end up as the starter, which is no shade to Cole, who played well. Anyone that expected the full air raid package or to show a lot of their plays in the first game is ridiculous. Appreciate that text. I don't know if it's people are ridiculous. I won't go and say that. I think the expectations were misguided, though. Three quarterbacks were going to play. Three quarterbacks came out and played. And Marshall goes out, and all three quarterbacks score. How about that? All three quarterbacks score. That hasn't happened since 1932. That three Marshall quarterbacks threw for a touchdown. And, of course, Steve Cotton, voice of the herd, who's primarily the historian, statistician. He comes up with all the interesting factoids. He's doing a great job, once again, pulling a pearl like that out. And Coach Huff, of course, grabs onto it earlier, and he talks about just overall his impressions of how everyone performed, and still throwing out there that it was his game plan all along for all of the players to go out, all the quarterbacks to go out and just score, all three of them.
The first thing I thought about when we kicked the ball off is how can I break the record from 1932? So the whole game that was on my mind, I was bound to break that record. I didn't find out until Sunday at about noon after the great Steve Cotton did his research. But, no, it was awesome. Got a chance to play a lot of players, got a chance to learn a little bit about our team. I still think there's a lot that we need to learn. I still think there's a lot we need to clean up. We go back and we look at the film, players, coaches, everybody in the building, excited about the win, but understand we have got to continue to improve in order to continue to make this season a success.
So where do you want to see that improvement? That was asked a little bit later on. It was Coach opening up his presser, having some fun, just general thoughts on that. And just to highlight the point that 1932 is the last time we saw a Marshall team. None of us were there, actually. Maybe Woody Woodrum. But no, nobody was there to see the herd have three quarterbacks score a touchdown or throw a touchdown, to be correct, to more accurately describe what happened. And so you have a lot of depth, you have a lot of success on Saturday, but as coaches like to say, we got to clean that up. Well, where do you want to see the improvement? What are you looking for as we progress, going from week 1 to week 2?
I think our consistency is got to get better. There were times Saturday we looked really, really good, and I felt really, really good. There was a rhythm. And then there were times Saturdays where we kind of spun our wheels in the mud, self-inflicted. I did think we played a very clean game, and we didn't have a lot of penalties. We didn't have a lot of turnovers. But I do think from an offensive perspective, we can get into a better rhythm quicker. I do think from a defensive perspective, there's still way too many times, in my opinion, maybe 2 or 3, where we get them in 3rd and +7, we got to get off the field. That's something that you got to hang your hat on as a defense. When you get them in 3rd down and long, you got to get off the field. A couple of times we didn't do that. Obviously, it didn't hurt us Saturday, but those are the things that catch up to you, when you play better competition further in the year. And then special teams-wise, I thought we did a really good job. We played a bunch of guys. Our consistency in our kicking game has got to continue to improve. We need those points, and we need the locations to be consistent. I think you saw Alec really helped us out with a punt on the 1 yard line. That's a combination between Alec and the Gunners doing a really good job. I think you saw Totten, who had not played before, got some good kickoffs. A couple of them were line drives, but they were deep. Reese was 1 for 2 on field goals. So there were some positives, but if we're going to be the team we need to be, those things got to be more consistent. We've got to be able to control the kickoff game. He's got a strong leg, but you can't hit a line drive because if they catch it, it's coming back at you. Obviously, Reese has worked his tail off. We've got to be able to use those points.
So, Coach Huff, with some thoughts, evaluations on where the team needs to improve from week 1 to week 2. Back to our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Paul, I thought Braxton looked the best. Majority of social media seems to think Braxton looked the best. So that means Stone starts. Ha! I don't know. Your feed and my feed, the algorithm must be different because I saw a lot of people that want Cole Pennington to start. And I get it. Absolutely. I completely get it. Chad Pennington was the guy for so many years. Absolutely. He was the guy. And so his son, quarterback at Marshall University, and you think, how cool would it be? How great would it be? You got another Pennington out there. You got Chad's son. Chad's son's quarterback, and Chad, he led Marshall to greatness. Cole could do this thing. I mean, it's great to have support, let me tell you. But at the end of the day, I think Braylon was the guy. I think Stone's right behind him. And I think that Cole is right behind all of them. And I don't mean that in a derogatory manner. I think it's tight, but I liked Braylon. And he is the one we got to speak to today, and we'll hear him later this week. And keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. It's the silver anniversary. It's even in the game notes. Silver anniversary. Marshall, the 1999 team, finished 13-0 behind Heisman Trophy quarterback candidate Chad Pennington. And you're talking about one of the all-time great teams there, the 1999 Thundering Herd team. Heisman candidate. 13-0. Beat Clemson that year. Beat BYU that year. Perfect season. We don't see those very often around here. And so there's a lot of emotion and a lot of excitement for Cole Pennington. And Cole played like he could start. Honestly, that's a fair assessment. Cole looked like he could be a starter for Marshall. But I think also Stone looked like he could be a starter as well for Marshall. I just thought that Braylon was the guy for me. He was the guy. All three were good. I was happy with all their performances. I can't knock any of them. I can't sit there and go, okay, he was not good. But I think Braylon, he won the energy award this week on the team, bringing the big energy. And so I think you get that energy with him when he's out on the field. And I like that about him. So I felt like he was the guy for me. Maybe we'll see more of what these guys really look like under pressure and adversity when the Herd goes up against Virginia Tech. That's going to be a better gauge. After Ohio State and maybe with Western Michigan, we'll have a better gauge of who can handle it. Because right now, Stony Brook came in, Stony Brook put up a fight, Stony Brook got beat. The end. It was easy. After Marshall came out, after the delay, Marshall figured it out. Everybody got to play, it felt like. I'm sure not everybody, but everybody got to play, it felt like. And so a lot of guys got the opportunity to go out there, perform. It was a decisive victory. It was at one point never in doubt. After the slow start, if you want to call it that, a slow start, Marshall was in charge of that game. And so we won't know until Virginia Tech or I think Ohio State which one of these guys can handle the pressure, which one of these guys are best under fire. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Are you tired of the blazing sun beating down on you while you drive? Well, say goodbye to heat and glare with ProTint, your Lumar Formula One tint installer. ProTint's premier window tinting not only keeps you cool and comfortable, but also protects your vehicle's interior from fading and cracking. ProTint guarantees a flawless installation every time. Choose ProTint for a sleek, stylish look, unbeatable UV protection, and customer service. Visit WV ProTint on Facebook today.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Farmers Feed, for all your feed, seed, and farming needs since 1991. Grandview Flooring Outlet and Window Treatments, Gallipolis in Middleport, Ohio. Loan Central, offering loans of all types, including mortgages. Apply by phone at any of their 6 locations.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word about pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Tri-State, there is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the Tri-State place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Tuesday edition of The Drive. Paul Swann, your host here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. It's game week once again. That's not going to get old for the next few months. Game week, Marshall, Virginia Tech. That's coming up on Saturday. We'll have the game for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll get on the air over at Giovanni's 20th Street. So that's where we're going to be for our pregame festivities, and that's coming up on Saturday. So we invite everyone to come on over, watch the game, or just get a pizza to take home with you. That is Giovanni's 20th Street. That's where we're going to be for our pregame coverage right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So the game's also going to be on the CW. And I mention that because CW is getting into college football. It's a nice diversified package of games. And one of the broadcasters that'll be calling the game is former Cincinnati Reds broadcaster. And, of course, he called a lot of games across the board nationally as well, and a variety of sports, is Tom Brenneman. So he's going to be on the call. It's been a while since Tom has been back in the booth. It's not been that long, but we go back to August 19th of 2020. And Brenneman's calling a game. Whatever the reason was, Tom was caught on a hot mic. And he said an anti-gay slur. And so he's calling the game, and I think finally it dawns upon everybody, including him, that went over the air. He made an apology. It was an awkward apology. He's calling the game and makes the apology in the middle of the call of Nick Castellanos. You'll never forget that, will you? No. It was strange. It was awkward. And, of course, so the deconstruction of Tom Brenneman's career began. So now he's back. He's gone through a lot. He's been remorseful. He's going through classes. I don't know the procedure, to be fair. You show up, it's like a 12-step program. Hey, this is, I'm trying to be better. He's going through everything, and he's got an opportunity again to call the game. Now, for some, that's going to be an interesting thing because I don't know where a lot of people are on him just yet as far as, okay, should he be back? Should he have never left? He was remorseful. It's good to have him back. And I hope that doesn't take too much away from the game for a lot of Herd fans. When Marshall fans realize, hey, it's Tom Brenneman. And for some of you, you might go, oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that. For others, you might remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, again, if you're anything of a Reds fan, you know who Tom Brenneman is. If you're a casual baseball fan and you're casual Reds fan, if you're even that, if you're not a Reds fan, if you know, you know. And so he's got the game on Saturday. I think he's a good broadcaster. I really think that he deserves a second chance. I'm going to be interested to see how that game goes because, again, I haven't heard him call a game in a few years. I haven't watched any of the CW coverage just yet. And so I'm curious to see how it goes and how it plays out. I'm glad he's getting a second chance. Now, is the CW the ceiling for him right now? I don't know how far he can work his way back, how high he can go. I liked him as a broadcaster, calling baseball, calling Reds games. I would watch him. I've met him. Nice guy, very personable to me the times I've met him. And again, he utters this slur on the air, and then just it was painful to watch it all crumble on the air. So I hope that it's just going to be Tom Brenneman calling the game. We have nothing to worry about, and it's just going to be a fine day for Marshall and Virginia Tech. But I just thought that was interesting because it's one of the first games that he's back from. How'd it go? I don't even know how it went last week for his first game. Of course, I had a lot of time on my hands on Saturday with the rain delay. And let me tell you, post-game show on Saturday, if you weren't with us, I will only say this. There's a mixed bag of fans out there. Some were happy, some were not happy. What do we need to do to do better? That's probably going to be my big question moving forward. What do we need to see happen? How does Marshall need to communicate things? Because that was my big takeaway from Saturday. After the game, talking to a lot of fans, is there were communication issues. there were questions as to what this policy was. I didn't hear too many complaints about the whole screening process. If there were complaints, I think those were few and far between. I didn't have any problems on Saturday with the screening process. I know a couple of fans were upset that they couldn't come back in the fourth quarter because at one point, after fans were allowed to come back in, you had to rescreen, but you didn't have to have your ticket scanned. But they were breaking down equipment in the fourth. And there were a few fans that were not happy that they couldn't get in the fourth. And that was just a weird day, a unique, strange situation. They handled it worse in Lexington, if anyone's wondering. Oh, my goodness. I wasn't there, so everything I'm reading is secondhand. Just not a good look for the University of Kentucky, how that got handled, and the game started late, and then they just had to call it. Both teams agreed. So Southern Miss got out of there with a little bit of dignity intact. The game was finally over. People just wanted that thing to go and die. It was like a vampire. You just wanted to die, put the stake in it. And I know it was a dilemma in Morgantown as well. Of course, that's a completely different story altogether there. Hopefully we don't have any more of these lightning delays anytime soon, but if we do, I think we need to at least have a little bit more clarity on what those policies are, so everybody's on the same page. I don't know if you can find a way to make constant announcements over the scoreboard. That should have been for, I think, several minutes. There should have been constant announcements. Here's our policy, repeat it again. Clear instructions, repeat those instructions. Nobody has any excuse. They hear them plenty of times. They know, you have to evacuate. What's the evacuation policy? Where do you go? What are the safety regulations? Could you hang out in the indoor practice facility? Those are things I think that need to be clarified as well. The next time, hopefully in a long time to come, we have a situation like this. What's the procedure? If you want to wait it out, you can wait it out in the indoor. Or, leave if you leave the stadium, but if you have your ticket, you can go to the indoor. And then when it's over, you can go back to the stadium. Everybody gets to go back in. Those are some things I think that we need to discuss the next time that we even think we're going to have a situation like this. All right. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Good night, everyone.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.